Hey everyone, welcome to Momiji Tea and Memories, a podcast presented by the Momiji Health Care Society here in Toronto. My name is Brian Mahoney, and today we have a special preview of some upcoming episodes. Think of this as a mixtape of memories. We start off with Nori Kaneshiro, who shares a delightful experience that gave him a tremendous boost in his self-confidence.
The teacher says, okay, today we're going to have the girls go and go and find the guy for their partner for today. Yeah. So it was this sort of thing. Yeah. And then this beautiful girl that, people had, a lot of guys thought, she's really a nice looking girl, this sort of thing. And of course, I noticed that too. She came right up to me to ask me to be her partner that day. And I was, wow, Yeah. And then, so we went through that day, nothing unusual except that I had a beautiful partner that day. Yeah. And that was, a really uplifting thing for me. Yeah. But I'll tell you, that little thing like that really gave me a lot more confidence of believing in myself in the sense that, well, I guess I must be okay.
Yeah, for sure.
With somebody coming up to me, especially a beautiful girl, yeah, and asking me to be her partner for that session. And that one occasion, I always remember, because to me that was a very uplifting, a confidence building kind of a thing that that really told me that, well, I guess I'm okay to be a Japanese. Yeah. And I'm okay to be who I am.
Thanks, Nori. It's the little things in life that can have a huge effect on us. Next up, we have Nori's wife Blanche sharing her rather scary experience on a remote highway in northern British Columbia.
I drove from city to city, church to church, a young girl, and to have these meetings. Yeah. And often we would be at a church in the evening, and then we would visit with some people. Yeah. And this one night we visited about 12, and the next morning we had to get up to get to the next place. Oh my gosh. So we got up at 6, and this was in BC. And so we drove, and it was black ice. Do you know what black ice is?
Yeah, solidifies,
yeah. Yeah, and it looks like it's nice road, but it's slippery. So and the road was curvy, so I was just tense and driving, and
scary.
Yeah, and so we made it till noon to a place, and we stopped for lunch. And
you should say that this was in northern BC.
Yeah.
Like on the Caribou Highway, south of, it's a highway that comes south from Prince George towards Kamloops, and, so it's on that kind of a remote, it's more remote.
Scary, yeah.
And then, so we stopped for lunch, and then it was nice and sunny, the ice was all gone, and then the road was just straight for this one bit. So then got in the car after lunch. After you eat, you kind of get sleepy.
Yeah.
Well, I went to sleep at the wheel.
No.
And on the straight stretch of road, and I thought, I hit a highway dump truck from the back. And he saw me coming, he said, wondered why I didn't pass him, because he was going slow. Yeah. But I hit him. So when I hit him, he stepped on the gas and got, so the impact wasn't as great. Yeah. But my car was like an accordion in the front, and I banged my teeth. But no broken bones. I had black and blue knees, and my partner, she hit the windshield, broke her nose, and things went flying. My glasses went flying to the back, and they didn't break.
Oh my gosh.
I know.
No,
The
no
impact.
seat belts in those days.
Oh, really?
Yeah, no seatbelt.
This is 1961.
61.
Yeah, 61.
61.
Blanche, no seatbelts. Thank goodness it all turned out okay. Our next guest is Pat Adachi. Pat tells us a bit about the evacuation of the Japanese Canadians in 1942 and some of her experiences in the camp, where her and her family were sent.
You know, we all lived in Vancouver. I was born in Vancouver, and most of us were. When war was declared in 1942, that's when they took away all our property, cars, homes, anything. And they sold it. We didn't get any of the money. We were told, you get out. And we were sent up northern part of British Columbia. And it used to be called Ghost Town. Well, there were a lot of children, I think 2,500 children, no schools. So we had to become teachers. Surprisingly, they turned out pretty good.
There were some famous people in the camps, right?
Well,
Moriyama.
the kids were anxious to learn, and we told them, you have to study hard, because this isn't going to go on forever. And when you get out into the other world, you have to be able to keep up, you know. And so we did all right, I guess. They gave me grade 1, and it's surprising, the kids were anxious to learn. And the first Christmas, they said that we had to put on a Christmas play. Well, I didn't know any plays. So back then microphones were new. I think that's pretty new. So I gave each of them a nursery rhyme, and each one had to go to the microphone and say their little piece. Well, we got away with that.
Pat is a treasure for sure, and she plays a mean game of Scrabble. Our next guest wishes to remain anonymous. Here he is with a short clip that puts the evacuation of Japanese Canadians into a different light, one of the little but significant parts of having to relocate thousands of kilometers away from home.
We had no money, right?
Yeah.
We just went with this. During the war, I never slept on a bed because we had to move 5 times. We have no furniture, so you had to sleep on the bed for 5 years. Wow. On the floor. One of them was a barn.
Sleeping in a barn, no bed for 5 years? This gives us an idea of our guest's inner strength. Now we have some history about school, learning English, as well as a picture of what life was like in British Columbia for thousands of Japanese Canadians before World War II.
So anyways, when we came back to after the farm, we had enough money with another family to buy a house because you can't get a rental in 1947 in Toronto. So we had to buy an old house. So 2 families moved into a house, upstairs, downstairs.
Yeah.
There was 6 plus 5, 11 people lived in one house, 1 bathroom.
Wow.
That's how we came into then I went to school there, like public school. But before that, when I was on the farm, I went to Downsview Public School, which was on Keele Street in Downsview. And I was there for grade 7. And before that, we were from Kelowna, we couldn't go to Ontario, so they sent us to New Denver. And I was in grade 6. I went in grade 7 at Downsview, and then I went from Downsview to Toronto public school. So I went to that many schools.
Wow.
And
And you said, I remember you telling me that when you went into grade 1, your teachers told you.
oh
that
yeah,
you
that I didn't tell. That's see, that wasn't the cause of the war. It wasn't caused by the war. It was caused by I couldn't speak English. You know, and so they told me I was only 6 years old,
Yeah.
and they told me if you don't learn more English, you're not gonna pass.
Oh. Oh, I see. But that was before the war happened.
Yeah, this was 1938,
Oh, okay.
somewhere around there.
Right.
See, so we had to go to English school, and then I didn't speak any English because we never had a radio. There was no such thing as TV. There was no white man living in the district, so we never spoke English. So it was all Japanese. Till I went to the first year, grade 1.
Oh, so up until grade 1, you only spoke Japanese.
Yeah,
Oh.
because nobody to speak English with, except your brothers. We probably spoke some English because I had older brothers and sisters,
Yeah.
but conversation in the house was Japanese. You know.
Finally, we have a couple of clips from Patsy Natsuhara. First is a bit of Patsy's family history.
You were born in Canada, right?
Yes, I was in Toronto, actually.
Oh.
I was born in Toronto on February 25th, 1946. I'm the second child. My brother is older than I am. His name is John. And I should tell you, my mom and dad, they were born in BC, Vancouver. And my father's name is Kichi. My mom's name was May. And they had to change it, because they lived in Toronto, right? So they had to have like English names. So my mother changed her name, or people changed her name to Nora, and my father's name was changed to Jack. Then, so my brother was born before I was in 1945, just after the war. And then I was born in 1946. My sister Vicky was born in 1947. Sheila was born in 1949, and my youngest sister is 1953. We were all born in Toronto. Amazing, yeah. Because my mom and dad had to come from BC because they were in the internment camps. So once they were let out, they can either go back to Japan or go out east. So I know they stopped go out and probably in Hamilton and that, and they finally made it to Toronto, and it's a good thing because then my brother was born.
Yeah.
And then me and then my siblings. But anyways, we're educated in Toronto. We knew how to speak Japanese.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
You know how to
up
speak a good
until
Japanese?
well, we spoke it fluently because we were with my mom and dad.
Yeah.
My mom spoke it fluently because she was taken back to Japan by boat. Can you imagine the boat ride to Japan from BC? And then so she had to have education in Japan. So all she knew is Japanese. My father was lucky because he was they were both born in BC, but my father was able to go to secondary school, and I'm not sure about high school and that because then the war happened.
To finish this preview, here's Patsy Natsuhara again telling us about her experiences when she first went to school in Toronto. This is a short but powerful clip that ends with a very touching story of Patsy's mother. Thanks, Patsy.
Well, of course, we had to go to school. Once they started school, that's when we really, especially me and my sister Vicky and my brother John, because we were born after the war, but we had to go to school when we were, kindergarten, grade 1. That's when I found prejudice against Japanese people. We didn't even know what's going on because we were born here.
Yeah. Yeah, that must have been difficult.
It was.
Not really knowing what was going on.
And plus, we didn't understand what they were talking because all we knew was Japanese because of my mom. But my father spoke English because of he went to Canadian schools, NBC, right? It's just my mother really didn't know because she had to stay in Japan to take care of her grandma. And she was only like 5 years old, but she went with her oldest sister, who must have been at least 10 years older than my mom. So she must have been 15 or something, my oldest aunt, Auntie I. So anyways, yeah, so that's when we found that we didn't know how to speak English. And then I remember the principal calling my parents in because they told them not to speak to us in Japanese. So that's when so we really lost it. And then my mother couldn't understand what we were saying because all we knew after, less than a year, probably knew how to speak English, right? Read and write and everything like that. So my mother was, she was lost. And then we had to teach her how to speak English, what we were saying, because she thought we were talking bad against her.
And there you have it, a preview of Momiji Tea and Memories. Future episodes will have more stories and experiences from today's guests, as well as memories that new guests will share with us. Thank you for listening.